Hi everyone, good evening here. This is Ejaz Ahmed from Full Stack Academy. I would like to welcome everyone onto this wonderful workshop. Mr. Rahim is all set to go. Before he starts, I thought I should introduce him to all the audience. Even though you have gone through his profile, I would like to thank Mr. Rahim for taking this opportunity. I am from Full Stack Academy family. We are very thankful to all the audience who have taken out their time to join this workshop. Mirza Rahim is an educator, author, speaker, and AI expert and startup mentor. Rahim has a combination of technical skills as well as strategic thinking and problem solving and excellent communication skills. He is having more than 15 years of education in the experience in the high impact solutions. He is highly acclaimed educator. He is an author of three top rated books listed among the top 100 AI leaders to follow. He's a very great corporate trainer, visiting faculty for MBA and MS programs, creator of highest rated course Gen AI for leadership, AI ML subject matter expert, and startup mentor. You can visit his profile, and you can go through the books, and you can also purchase the books from the online. So at Full Stack Academy, we welcome everyone who have taken out your time, and this workshop will greatly benefit all the folks, irrespective of the domain you're coming from, irrespective of the experience you're coming from. We will try to give you the best out of the technical knowledge, whatever so possible. So over to you, Rahim Saab, for your workshop. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for the great introduction, Ijaz Saab, and thank you everyone for joining in. And let's see, some folks are already having a good time annotation. Let's see. But yes, really good to see you all here. Many of you joined before time, so that's also a pleasant surprise. It just goes to show that we're all looking forward to the session, and I'm also looking forward to it. And let's get started. There's enough people joined already. There's 130 of us. Okay. And while Ijaz has already introduced me, I'll also briefly talk about just some extra points, perhaps, right? That my experience so far, 15 years plus, has been in data science, AI. The name keeps changing, but essentially, I call myself a data person who's just solving problems using data science, right? Since 2010, and doing whatever it takes, whether it's building a model or whether it's building a nice pivot table in Excel. Okay. So yeah, and I've worked in e-commerce, I've worked in pharma, I've worked in the advertising for e-commerce and so on, these domains. As Ijaz mentioned, I'm subject matter expert with multiple tech platforms, a corporate trainer, author of these three books you see on screen. I was fortunate to get an opportunity to do this. The fourth one is coming soon, I hope. It's under progress. And also a mentor at a startup accelerator. And in terms of corporate training, I've had experience training many corporates in topics like machine learning, data science, AI, NLP, deep learning, all of these topics, right? So that's about me. And this workshop, what we'll do in this workshop, we will do plenty of hands-on. So we will have, in the beginning, we have to do a bit of background and context setting, but after we start, we'll do a lot of hands-on. So you'll see it's a very hands-on exercise today. So one quick thing, just open up ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, whatever you're doing, just open it up, keep it open in a new window. Some of you might have paid versions of ChatGPT or something, so use that. If you have a free version of ChatGPT, open that. If you have Gemini, I think you have a lot of access to a lot of things, so use Gemini also. For those, I'm not sure how many many of you please use something, Claude, or now you can hear me, right?
Sorry, we lost you for the last half minute actually.
Okay, but now it's fine. You're back. I'm back. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I was saying, use some tool. Doesn't matter what, but yeah. Also, the important point that we will do a lot of hands-on stuff of different complexity levels. So some might seem a bit advanced, but don't worry. For now, it's fine if you just follow along or understand what I'm doing. And later, as part of the course or whatever, we will cover all of these in far more detail. Okay. And yes, please ask questions. You can raise your hand or ask in the chat if you don't want to do that. But yeah, as in when you have a question, put it in the chat and I will try to answer them. And yes, please feel free to take screenshots, share on social media, wherever you want and stuff. So all good, right? This is what we'll do. So I would like to stress that you should do the hands-on, the work along with me so that you really get this thing, okay? All right. Now, let's proceed. And this is the agenda. First, I will give you a very brief intro of Gen AI in 5 minutes. I think it deserves a more detailed discussion, but I think for what we need for this workshop, I'll give you a brief in 5 minutes. Then I'll talk about the utility of Gen AI. And then from the analytics perspective, whether you are a data analyst or a product analyst or a business analyst, or you want to become one, or you're an analytics manager, or you're someone who works with data, right? It doesn't matter what your exact position is, but as long as your work can benefit from some sort of data analysis, which is most people now really, whether you're a bank manager or manager in a healthcare company, all of us should have some data literacy, right? So this is relevant to all of us really, and we will talk of how it is useful for all of us. Then specifically for more analytics oriented or a bit more technical discussion, we will talk about querying databases. This is one of the main things we use Gen AI for as analysts, right? This is a very common task. Doesn't matter which type of analyst you are. If you're working with data, you will query databases, right? And we will also perform an end-to-end analysis in which we will have some data analysis, and then towards the end, we'll also try to create some machine learning model. All right. And in the end, also after this whole analysis, we will try to get out some a nice documentation of the analysis, which is really cool. You'll see. This is the plan for now. After this core discussion is done, we will reserve some time for Q&A, where you can ask all your questions about the topic or about the course that we have in future, right? Okay, unable to see the content as I'm appearing in the bottom. Let me give me one moment. I need to change my position because I planned it for the right. Yeah, now it should be better. Planned for the right, but yeah, because once I lost my connection, I came to the left. Okay, now now it's better, I imagine. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So then, yeah, that's the plan, folks. Again, just to reiterate, yes, make sure you do hands-on, get the tools and stuff. Okay, all right. So that's the plan. Let's get started. Right. Uh, by the way, I also got to know that the group is very mixed in the sense that it is not all technical people and it's not all, let's say, beginner level people. So it's a lot. There's a big range, really. You have very senior people joining, very experienced people joining as well as non-technical people. So let's see. But I think the way we will go about this, everyone should be able to follow most of it. There will be certain points where things will get a little bit more advanced or technical, and I will highlight those things. Okay. So yeah, and like I said, if you don't follow those things, don't worry. Those things can be done covered later. Okay. All right. So let's begin with the overview of Gen AI in 5 minutes and what matters for this workshop. Let's just talk about that. All right. Now, what is Gen AI overall? Big picture stuff. Don't worry about details. It is a category within AI. So AI is a big thing, right? I mean, AI includes all sorts of models, text, audio, video, a lot of stuff, robotic, a lot of things, really different things, different optimization algos and whatnot. But within the whole AI umbrella, there is one specific thing which is called Gen AI, which is one type of AI, which is focused on generation and synthesis of information. What does that mean? It means given some data, it takes that information and gives you processed or reformatted information, or creates new data based on what it has, or it already has learned a lot of things based on its how it was created, right? From that it generates. So this is more about generation. If you compare it with, let's say, a more classical AI algorithm, like predicting whether someone is a fraud, then the output of that kind of a model is more around some sort of a probability, or saying that, okay, this person is fraud, this person is not fraud. That is what it does. It predicts some sort of an outcome. But here in generative AI, it is typically creating or generating the next term, right? Or text or video, audio, it's a different topic. But one of the core technologies which powers this whole Gen AI thing, right, is large language models. And large language models, their, like I said a minute ago, their base behavior is just predicting what word comes next. If you give it a lot of inputs, based on the input, what comes next, right? It's a very specific thing. It's very interesting. It's very specific. It was created to predict the next word or next term based on what it's like autocomplete on your phone. That's what the base design of this was. However, it has become so good, so powerful, and with a lot of extra things added on top of it, it is so capable. We'll see in a minute. Okay, but the base behavior is very simple, really. It's about predicting the next term based on the inputs. And this thing is become so good that it is great, first of all, at processing text. So if you give it a command that, do this and do that, and if you give it a long description and stuff, it will follow, it will understand everything, it will break it down, and it will give you all the response like you want, right? In fact, much better than many humans in many situations. So it's really good for understanding your commands and generating responses or output based on your commands. It's a really cool model. Okay, so large language models are really very good. And it's not like they did not exist before. They existed like several years ago. But in the past couple of years, especially with ChatGPT, the way they presented it, right? The way it was easy for people to just use. Anyone could just go on. Right now also, you don't need any technical skills to interact with ChatGPT. Yes. So this is what really caused this wave of popularity for these models. So this is really good models, and you will see in the next slide that even though by base nature is very simple, these things have become super capable because of some additions. Okay, now in the base behavior, what it can do was, okay, there's a model which is trained. It's a model. It's a big file. It's like a model file. Okay, like a system in a way, which is like maybe a 20 GB model or a 80 GB model, some of them. And you give it some instruction that give me write me a poem, for example, which is a very silly example, but you can do that. Give me a poem. So you give the instruction to the model takes the instruction, and there is an output. Very simple. Okay, so instruction plus some data if you want, and it gives you new data. It is very powerful in this capacity also. So for example, if you want to do translation, you give it some text in Japanese, you want it to translate to Russian, for example. So you could just open up ChatGPT and say, translate this text. You provide this data, which is the Russian or Japanese text, and it will give you very good translation in Russian, right? So it's really cool. It's really good, even without extra features, okay? But with more utilities. So of late, in the past year especially, what has happened is these models, their capacities have been greatly enhanced. So they have a lot of additions to them. So utilities which help the model become much more capable. So you can, if some of you are using the OpenAI app, you can speak to it. You don't have to type, right? You can speak to it. It can speak to you, right? You can provide files to it. It can write code, it can execute code, it can perform visualization, it can create graphs for you, right? It can run machine learning models for you, by the way. We will see that as well. So it's really very capable now, right? And it can take a variety of data. It can take instructions, the normal text. It can take files, like I said. It can access external resources through APIs and whatnot. So it's become something very, very powerful with all these additions now. And now we have come to a point where you can think of these things as, like a virtual team member in a way who is capable of multiple things, and we'll talk about that as well. Okay, let me see if there's something in chat. Record your question and okay, that's during Q&A. Okay, right. So essentially now what we have with us is this very capable system, some models, some utilities inside. uh, it's a very capable system through which we can give these instructions, we can talk to it, we can hear from it, we can give you files and external data, it can browse the web for us and stuff, it can perform simple tasks, and it can automate things for us. That's where we are right now. Okay, and this is very powerful because, like I said, now any job, any field can actually be benefiting from this. But before we go, ahead of ourselves, we need to see what it is good at, or or the strengths and the weaknesses, right? So first of all, it can be used on a variety of tasks. So classical AI is very specific. So you have one model for predicting fraud or not, one model for predicting spam email or not, one model for predicting something else. So you have like very specific design models for each task. However, these generative AI things, large language models, can do multiple things. Okay, so they're really special in that way. They're much smarter. So earlier, if some of you have used Siri, or OK Google or whatever, a couple of years ago they were super bad. I think even Amazon Siri is still rather dumb. Amazon's Alexa is still rather dumb. It doesn't understand things. But we know that these things are not so easy. Understanding human commands and understanding exactly what to do, right? But now with generative AI things, it has become so much better that you can give it a complex instruction, it will break it down, and you will be surprised how good it is, right? Because of all the extra utilities that this has, there is a lot of potential for automation. Now, really, it's so interesting. There are companies which are selling softwares and selling them as hire virtual team members, specialists. Okay, and this is very possible. This is very plausible also at this point, depending on what that person is supposed to do. Okay, so the AI augmented workforce is really possible now. I mean, it was always automation was always there, but now it's much better than before, and that's made a lot of difference. Okay, now the downsides of this whole thing is that results are less deterministic. It's something we might discuss a bit more detail later in the course, but if you give the same command 5 times, you might not get the same answer 5 times, okay? Especially for longer tasks. There's some variation, so getting the exact same repetition is not so easy. Okay, then setup is complex sometimes. So already, and this is more for enterprise level, for big companies. Setting up something up which is used by hundreds or thousands of people is not easy. And there are new challenges in ethics, responsibility, bias, and whatnot. Okay, all of these can be topics for later. But I just wanted to give you a general overview of what this technology is. Okay? And because of all of this, companies are using it everywhere. There's augmentation. Everyone is now expected to know this and stuff. Gen AI is actually changing the way we work, and it doesn't matter what industry or what your job is, right? In all of these, there is now a strong component that this is like basic literacy, technical literacy, right? Everyone should know how to use, say, a chat GPT, or use some other technology, or use Copilot or whatever, right? And you'll see Microsoft or the big players, all of them are publishing these things where they're saying, okay, in education, how you can use Copilot. What are different ways in which someone in education can benefit? How can someone in government use this? How can someone in HR, in healthcare, right? So it's not about just technical people benefit from this or people in specific e-commerce or whatever. It is really practically everywhere. Wherever there's data, wherever we have data, or where we have automation process, where we have processes, and there we can use all of this. So this is really something really special. And we have already seen wide scale adoption of this. We have already seen that the way people work is changing significantly. And the next year, 2025, you will see even more of this. Okay, so that's that. Okay, it's becoming technical literacy, and I can go take one step ahead and say that AI is becoming the new MS Excel. Why is this? Because you will be expected to know how to use it, right? I mean, at some point, what used to happen with MS Excel was people used to write, okay, MS Excel. We used to ask, okay, you must know MS Excel, okay? But after some point, right, it just became assumed. No one even mentions it. Oh, you know MS Excel. It's simple as that, right? Everyone should know MS Excel. So that's there's a lot of creativity going on. Let me just remove all creativity on the screen. All right. Okay. Yeah. So this is basic literacy, and I think it's like I said earlier, everyone is expected to know a bit of how to use these things, even if you don't know how to build it from scratch. Maybe that is for developers, but you should know how to use it, and any job can be made better, as you saw in the previous slide. Okay, so that's about the intro. And I'll talk about for analytics especially, which is the core of our discussion and the course as well, how it is useful for analytics. Okay, and very briefly, I can go through a couple of examples of big companies, and then I'll talk about how individuals can benefit. Okay, so there are these use cases, and we don't need to spend much time, but it's good to know. Google Analytics. Google has analytics solution, which is mostly about on-platform behavior, how people are behaving on your website or on your business or app or whatever. And then Google Analytics has a lot of automation around analysis, around, say, strange behavior or outliers. It generates actionable insights. It explains why something happened, why is this, explains changes and stuff. Right? It's really very powerful, right? It has automated analysis and automated insight generation as well. Okay? Google Analytics 4 significantly shortens the data analysis cycle, like very short. Maybe what could take, say, weeks will take maybe a couple of days now. Okay? And it also has things around prediction, rapid predictive audience, predicting future purchases, whether based on your past activity and whatnot. So it's again very useful for businesses, especially, right? Right. Then Facebook, another example, Meta, Facebook Insights. Anyone who has a business on Facebook, or you use Facebook's business solutions or ad solutions, you'll see that Facebook provides audience insights, ad optimization, okay, predictive analytics. It also helps you optimize the creative content and stuff. So again, a very common use case. But it's not only the online things and the e-commerce stuff, really. It's also healthcare, for example. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So Mount Sinai Health System, this is the biggest network of hospitals in New York, I imagine. And IBM's Watson X is used to analyze patient data, to identify patterns, see upcoming trends, and all of this is used to improve patient care. Right? Mayo Clinic is a very popular.
उल्लू बैठे अच्छा बिस्मिल्लाह वाला बुक बिस्मिल
Okay, and Mayo Clinic is using again these IBM's Watson X tools to develop a diagnostic tool for Parkinson's disease. Right, it is analyzing genomic data to identify potential drug targets for cancer treatment. So many applications. It's not limited to only the more technical or e-commerce roles. Okay, we hear about coding a lot. We hear about some certain things, but it's being used everywhere. Really. Okay? So these are some examples of how this technology is used. But let's come to individuals like you and me, and the folks who are in these roles or who want to get into these roles. how does it help an analyst, whether it's a data, product, whatever analyst, right? Business analyst, but how does it help? This is a very small list of the kind of things, the larger
2 मिनट
areas.
मिल लेके जाके वो लेके आ जा तो
I think, can you all mute yourself, and especially Urdu community Bahrain? I think I'm muting you, you're unmuting yourself. If you'd like to speak, you can take the stage for a while. If not, can you please mute yourself? Okay, thank you. Right, if you want, we can arrange for it, but yeah, not right now. Okay, now for an analyst, now there are a few things, these larger things. One, data, getting data, transforming data is a very core task of any analyst. It doesn't matter specifically what analyst you are, okay? So that is one area where it is really helpful. Then coding. So using Python, SQL, PySpark, or whatever tools you have, right? All of these. Earlier, really, I mean, when I started with this tool, this package and programming language called SAS. From SAS, I went on to R, and in each time there was a learning curve. From R to Python was also a big change, learning curve. And PySpark again was a learning curve. So, successively you have to keep learning, and it was not so smooth, moving from one language to the other, which is becoming more popular. However, now with the help of generative AI, which is really excellent at any programming thing, especially programming for data science and for analytics and stuff, it is so easy that you don't need to know PySpark very well to, let's say, write code in PySpark. Okay? It will assist you in such a manner that you would be amazed how easy things are becoming. So now, not knowing how to write code from fundamental is not really a barrier at all. And anyone with a bit of effort can really, you will see yourself, anyone with a bit of effort, some assistance from these tools, you can create your own analyses, right? Without worrying about code so much. It's not a barrier anymore. It's a big change really. And what this means is, to become a data analyst or any sort of analyst, it's not, this is not a barrier anymore, which is a big deal. Okay? Now, analysis, inspiration, and assistance. What I mean by this is, when you want to do the analysis, you'll see today as well. Sometimes you are like, okay, what do I do with this? Or what sort of check should I do? Or what sort of, let's say, test should I apply? Should I manipulate it this way or that way? Or what kind of table should I make, right? Here is where AI can be really helpful, and you'll see this example now in a few minutes, okay? Now, for machine learning things as well, for maybe making some basic models and stuff, again, this is very useful. For visualization of data, super helpful. For documentation, so what analysis did you do, what did you find, and making a story, everything is super useful, okay? And these things, I think, is better shown than explained. So we will do that in a couple of minutes. So yeah, we'll get to the hands-on very quickly, okay? But yeah, larger point being that for most things that an analyst does in the day-to-day, generative AI can help, and help significantly, okay? And you'll see by yourself just in an hour that so much we can achieve when you're using Gen AI tools. What would take you 1 hour might take you now, one day might take you less than an hour today, okay? That's the power of this. All right, so that was a larger picture. For so these were some foundational things, right? Coding assistance, data fetching, data exploration and stuff. This is more foundational across roles. It doesn't matter which analyst you are. But if you go to specific analytics roles, like a business analyst or a product analyst or this is the third one, is a data analyst, as a typo. But regardless of which analyst you are, there are several things you can do. So for example, for a product analyst, online experimentation, analyzing product performance, user feedback analysis, analyzing on-site experience, all of these things, including basic ML, all of these things can be assisted using Gen AI, right? For business analyst, forecasting, business metrics definition, customer insights, all of these. For data analyst, schema design, automating data pipelines, data preparation, dashboard creation, all of these things are significantly enhanced using generative AI. So what you take away from this particular slide in the past 5 minutes is that regardless of what data role you want to get into, what analytics role you want to get into, generative AI can be a big boost to your productivity, and it can also help you get into those roles very in a much better manner than before. It just eases the entire thing. And what it effectively does really is, because the coding part is kind of easy now, it gives more emphasis to your logical thinking, right? To your problem solving skills. So this is a really good thing, that coding is not the main barrier anymore. Okay, now let's get towards hands-on people. Okay, now keep your OpenAI windows or Claude or whatever windows ready, and we will quickly have some hands-on. Okay, those who have ChatGPT, use the older model of ChatGPT. Maybe I'll show my screen as well in a minute. Those who have Gemini can use Gemini. It doesn't matter. Use any of these. Okay. Now, first we start with querying database, which is one of the big things an analyst does. Any questions? Okay. All right. Right. Now, and within querying databases, there's multiple things which can help you, like writing complex queries, writing optimized queries, or optimizing when to query, when to not query. And if those who are in bigger companies, you will know that the data is stored. Data structures keep changing. They're not static. So today the schema is something, tomorrow it's different. So, but it can help you adjust those things very easily as well. And those of you have seen maybe somewhere or the other talking to the data, like right, okay, writing just natural language, like what was the revenue in the past 3 years and how has it changed, right? And that gets converted to a SQL query, and you get graphs out of it, right? All of this thing also, talking to your data, is also possible if you can query it right. Okay, so extracting data from a database wherever you have it is a very key task. It enables all of these things, and we'll see how Gen AI enables this. Okay, so we'll take one example, which is formulating the complex queries, and we'll see how easy it is to write queries with Gen AI. Okay, so now I will ask you all to open up either Gemini. If you don't know the link, it is gemini.google.com/app. I can share the link in chat as well. Okay. There's a raised hand. Is there a question, Ravina? Okay, no, I guess not. Okay, so I will share this link in chat. So you can use this, or if you're using ChatGPT, so you can go into ChatGPT and you can use some of the older models also, legacy models or GPT-4 or mini, or doesn't matter, you can any of the older models also. So because if you're on the free version, the latest model will not be available for you for a long time. Okay, so maybe you can use 4 or mini or older model, doesn't matter. It is good enough for our task. Okay, so you can use this. You can use Gemini. Looks like this, gemini.com/app. Okay, and if you're using Claude, you could use Claude.ai. This is also something you can use. It's very good for coding analysis related stuff, right? All right, so when you are ready, just let me know in chat that you are ready, yes or no. Just say a yes, okay, in chat. Okay, just let me know you're ready. Just say yes. Yeah, okay, I think I'm getting several direct messages, not in, okay, fine. I'll take that, okay. All right, so many people are ready. Let's get started, okay? I'll use ChatGPT older model. Now, you can use Gemini, whatever, doesn't matter, like I said. So here we have this schema. So what we have is a description of a table, what kind of columns it has. So it has this one. This is for a data set on cardiac health, cardiac disease, heart disease, basically. And it has these things like, okay, what is the age of the patient, what is the gender of the patient, the chest, whether they have chest pain or not, and there's resting blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and there's multiple things, right? I don't even understand most of these descriptions are here. Okay, now if this table thing is known to you and you are given some task, okay, write a query to do this, right? For someone who has a bit of experience, depending on the query, it might not be so difficult. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Okay, so this is, let me put this in chat. this schema, and if I ask you, write a query to calculate the number of male patients and the number of female patients. So, right, the patients by gender. Okay? So yeah, you might be able to write a query. I don't think it's so difficult. So for example, you might be able to write. I can just do something like those who want to give it a try can give it a try. But you know the columns, something like, okay, I know the gender value is here, and then I'll say, okay, I know the table name. What is the name of the table? Let's say heart, right, or data, whatever. So I can say, okay, select. I'll say something like select gender, comma, count star. Okay, so they count the number of records from count star as patients, the num patients, something like that, right? From data, I call it data now, group by gender, something like that. Okay? You'll do something like this. You write a query. This is fine. This is not so difficult. Okay. But let's see how ChatGPT does. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll give you two tasks, and you have to use ChatGPT for both. Okay. And we'll see how to do this. Okay. So first task is write a query to count the number of male and female patients. And one way to do it was what I showed you earlier. Another way to do it using ChatGPT is something like this. Okay, now I'll show you how to use ChatGPT for querying. ChatGPT or Gemini doesn't matter. Okay, take any of them; it should work fine. And here is where I should be able to give a good command to ChatGPT. This is where my commanding skills come, or prompting skill comes. Okay, I'll keep it very simple for now. So I will give ChatGPT some sort of a role. Okay, that you are an expert data analyst. Okay, something like that. Okay, and can write great queries, SQL queries. The context, the task they can give them is using the following data schema. Okay, write a query that calculates the number of patients by gender. Okay, so the count of patients by male and female. Okay, that is it. That is all you have to do, and you have to provide the schema. So you can say schema is this. So you paste the entire thing. Okay, this is what you can do. So I'll share this in chat with you all. You can use it in Gemini, ChatGPT, wherever. Okay, and you can see what query it gives. So you gave ChatGPT a role. Okay, you are an expert analyst. Task is using the following schema, write a query that calculates the number of patients by gender. Okay, and then you gave the schema as well. Okay, schema is age. You can put it any way you want. Okay, age in years, gender. So now we're giving it a description. These are the columns in the data set. Okay, now let's just hit enter and see what it does. Okay, right. And in fact, this thing gives a better response than I did. So when I created a query, I just said, okay, just group it by 1, 0. But it says, okay, you know what? Let me give it a better name. So or make the data very clear. If the gender value is 1, then assign male. If the gender value is 0, then assign female. If for some reason it is not available, the gender value is missing, or it is something else, then give it unknown. So it already is doing some sort of a handling of unexpected values, right? And as gender, okay? And it says count the patients, right? Just count the records as patient count from whatever table you have, and you group by gender. So a very simple query, it does a good job. In fact, it also handles the cases where it is unknown, which I did not do originally, right? But it identifies it as a case and handles that. Also, if you see down, it also gives you an explanation. So it uses a certain thing here called case. So it tells you, okay, case when statement, this table, this part translates the thing to this, else unknown handles any unexpected gender values. Okay, counts the number of rows, group by this. And it says, okay, to use this query, replace your table name with the actual name of your table. This query also assumes that gender column contains only 0 or 1 or null values. If there are other values, you need to adjust the case. Okay, and that's really good. I mean, if you see this thing, this query, and you see the explanation, there is no doubt what it is doing. So even if you are a full beginner, you can run this query and you can see what it does, right? So it's really something special in my mind. Okay, so yeah, this example makes sense to everyone. Any doubt on this? All good? Let me know in chat. Is this clear? Were you able to run this? Okay, you should get a similar
I
result to mine.
actually tried to run it, but I got a different result.
Hmm?
I got a different output for the input I gave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you see a difference in you did at Gemini or did you do ChatGPT?
I did a chat GPT.
Okay, it might be
The
different.
only difference I got is the cases here, it mentions 3 cases there, right? But here it's only gender count as patient count as 1 and from patients and group by gender. That's it. Even
Okay.
that
So,
is making sense, but yeah, here
yeah,
it specified 3 cases. Mine is
okay,
a
perfect.
bit.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so I think the result will be very similar. There will be minor variations in how it does that, right? And in fact, that's fine because even when you're writing queries, you will see the same thing. Many people have very different kind of queries, right? So in fact, if I do the same thing on ChatGPT, I'll probably get that kind of answer. Yeah. So task.
Is that possible? Can she show what she got it from the chat GPT? That we can compare it, no? If it's possible,
Yeah,
she
it
can
will be
she can she
similar.
can copy paste it what she got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
All right.
if
You
you're
want me
comfortable,
to
share it with
share?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. If you share it, will be yes.
Just a
share it
second.
with on with Irfan maybe. Then we don't. I mean, I don't need to go through it. Okay. But yeah. You will get a very similar answer. The end result will be the same. Okay. And it doesn't matter whether it is Gemini or not. Even if you use Gemini again 5 times, the second time it might be a different answer. So let's say I do this right, I might get a slightly different result, but the output will, I mean the end thing, right? What comes out or the it will still work. Okay, in general. Okay, so for
So
these simple things, I don't think you will have a lot of problem. But for more complex one, there might be. Okay, but anyway, let me go back to another kind of example.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you again. Is this query only works fine with ChatGPT and Gemini, or it will also go on for Copilot in Copilot?
Or most of them should work fine. I don't see any issue. This is very simple for it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so okay, right. So now let's continue. Now let's do the other query. So the first query, you'll say, okay, fine. It wasn't so difficult for me. I can write it myself. I also did this thing. Where is my thing? Here, right? Select gender, count star, whatever. It's easy to do. Fine. Let's try this second query, which is also not so difficult, but still, it's not as easy as the first. Okay. If you want, you could try it by hand. You're most welcome, but you don't have to. You can also just use ChatGPT or Gemini. So I go into Gemini. What is this entire thing, right? I can copy this
Sorry, excuse me,
using.
I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible. Why do you want to be audible? Are you? Uh,
Sir, in between, I have lost my connection, so I left the meeting. Did I miss any important thing, sir?
Yeah, everything is important. No, you didn't miss. It's maybe you can see the recording later. Okay, so please raise
Yes,
your hand, and I
yes, sir.
can
That is
ask you to speak when needed. Right? Otherwise, we won't get anywhere. Okay.
okay. Yes, we can, sir.
All right. So please mute yourself and raise your hand, and we'll get to you. Otherwise, it won't happen. Right? Okay. So yeah. So now what we do is let's take the same thing, right? And all I change is this. Okay. Using the same schema, same data schema, write a query that, okay, gets, what do you have here? Calculate the proportion of patients with cardiac disease by gender. Okay, so for males this is different, for females it is different. So calculate the proportion, right? calculates the proportion of patients with cardiac disease by gender. I want you to run this. I will put this in chat. And nothing changes. You don't change anything else. Just add this using the same schema. Calculate the proportion of patients with cardiac disease by gender. Okay, and you run this. And you'll see it does a very nice thing, by the way. I think in this case, you will most definitely get a slightly different result from ChatGPT. But I've tested this before, so they will work very similarly in the end. But approach can be slightly different, right? Some of them are more concise, some of them are a little bit, some make it easier to read, some make it more efficient and so on. So the query can be different. But you see now, here's something very nice. Okay? It says, okay, you can read the explanation by yourself, but it does a very nice thing in the query, which in fact I think many very beginner analysts it won't strike them very easily. So even if you're a very beginner in SQL, doing this will not strike you. Okay, what it does is to calculate a percentage, right? It does something like it takes a 0 or a 1 value, it calculates a percentage like an average. So when you do an average, it creates some sort of a proportion, right? So it does a very smart thing over here. Okay. And it explains the full thing. You can go through the entire thing later. It's not too critical at this point. So it creates a query. It explains each step, why it did this, right? And you can, and of course, you don't have to just follow it blindly, right? You can see the query. You can see the explanation. You can say, okay, what it did makes sense, but this might be wrong. Or, I don't quite agree with this part. Maybe I should make it more efficient. So you can ask ChatGPT or Gemini to update it itself, or you can copy this query and make minor modifications yourself, right? So it's up to you. You don't have to just go blindly with whatever it gives, okay? And in fact, it is always a good practice that you don't completely blindly trust the code which comes out of ChatGPT or whatever, okay? All right. So after this, let's continue. So this was very basic query stuff, okay? The schema is very clear. Yeah, schema is very clear for us, right? Okay, age and years, and some might say, okay, fine, it's not too complex, I can do it myself. Awesome, good for you. But let's take some other example. And this is another kind of a schema, which is actually very typical of shipment data. And this is what it looks like often. Okay, it doesn't look very nice. It's not so clear also. Okay, but yeah, it's a JSON. It's specific format. It has a certain type, and if you see this for the first time, it can be intimidating. Okay, how do I get this? It has structure and all, but it's really difficult sometimes. Maybe it's not easy to read right now also, right? Maybe you need some sort of a JSON viewer or something to make it well. But I'll just show it to you. Maybe you can try it out yourself as well. But this is, by the way, this is not very uncommon in big companies. Data is stored often in this way, especially when you have like backend systems giving you data, right? So this is the schema, right? There is a question, I imagine. Yes, please go ahead. Okay, there's a raised hand, but no question. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, using the following schema again. Okay, and I will paste the entire schema here. I put this in chat as well. Okay. Now this is data pertaining to a shipment. Okay, this is a fairly, it's not too complex also, but it's fairly nested schema. Okay, and you have information around a shipment. You have information on where it is right now. I mean, from where to where it is right now. What leg it is right now. What is a destination for each leg? So leg 1, it's a multi-point shipment. Okay, multi-hop, multi-point, whatever. So destination, first destination, the first leg is Paris. Second destination is where is this? Yeah, UK, right? It goes to Paris, then it goes to UK, starts from Germany, and so on. And each time, first it uses, let's say, DHL. Second time it uses UPS or whatever, right? There's different legs. So now from this thing, I want a certain thing. I want a query to count the number of shipments using the latest data in transit today. Okay, and break down the count by destination of the current leg, and the destination of the future leg. So where it is going right now and where it will go next, along with the carrier. All right. So this is the, let me just put the entire schema also in, let me put the entire command for you, okay? Using this, okay, use the following schema. Using the schema, okay, write a query to, and again, count, right, using schema, write a query to count the number of shipments in the latest event in transit today, break down the by destination of current leg and destination of future leg, okay? And I will paste this entire thing in chat also, so that you don't have to type it at all. All right, let's put this in chat. Oh, it's too big to fit in. Let me break it down into two parts then, okay? I'll give it in two parts. The chat doesn't take beyond 1,000 characters. Okay, so I've given you this prompt, this entire thing in chat, so please copy it from there, okay? Now, use the following schema, and then using the schema, write a query, okay? And it does this, okay? And I don't know how, if the full thing is visible clearly or not. Let me just go into full screen mode. Okay. But there's a question, by the way, I'll come to it in a moment, Fahim, just, okay. So here is the full query, okay? So it does something, it uses an advanced SQL thing called a common table expression. Then it does this selection part. Then, in fact, it does some sort of a join also by itself. You'll see later perhaps. But yeah, it's not a very simple query. It is somewhat intermediate or to advanced kind of a query, okay? And left join, where status code is in transit and the date is in current date. It also uses the date functions and so on, group by this, and so on, okay? If you do chat GPT, I think chat GPT will give you a slightly different thing. It might add the country name or whatever. It might be try to make its own minor variations, but functionality wise, it will not be very different, okay? But you see now, this kind of a query, you have a starting point, okay? You don't know at this point it is completely correct. You should not trust if it is completely correct, by the way, from experience, but you have a good query, you have a good structure, and you know how you can approach this. Maybe you can debug this, maybe you can run it on your own machine somewhere, where you have the system, and you can verify this, okay? All right, so there's a note saying Copilot use JSON functions. Yes, you can use JSON functions, right? So different folks have different, okay? So yes, so anyway, there might be variations in the queries. Also, you can also specify, I want to use this version of SQL. So again, the query might be different. So, but yeah, query wise, it will do a fantastic job. It won't disappoint really. But yeah, you should verify the query if it works fine or not, okay? It will give you full explanation also, what it does, what is the CTE part, what is the main query, and so on, and how to use this. So this is super cool, by the way. For a beginner, this might take quite some time, maybe take a couple of hours just to write this kind of a query, right? And here it takes maybe 1 minute. So this is really very powerful. And if you are even if you are a more experienced person, or let's say if you are a business person who wants to get some data, and one way is reach out to the analytics team. Analytics team doesn't have time for this, and they give you this data next week sometime, right? When they have time. Or you just go into chat GPT or whatever, get a query like this, run it in your system somewhere, some access you have, you get the answer in a couple of minutes. So this is really powerful and really enabling. It's not only for analysts, it's for anyone who has to work with data, which is everyone, okay? All right, there's a question by Fahim, I think. Fahim, please go ahead. You're on mute if you're asking anything. Okay, maybe that's it. So I'll lower the hands. Okay, I don't think there's a question then. All right, then let me go ahead. So this was about the SQL part, and there's, by the way, the examples can get very complex, but I hope you see how using Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever, what could take a long time for a beginner or just become too difficult for a beginner can be done by anyone, you and me, right? I don't know what level you are already at, but we can all do this very easily, right? and you just need to verify, but you have a good starting point. So that's really makes a lot of difference. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so that was about SQL. Okay, and about querying databases, and I think let me just finish this section, and you'll see that for data transformation, data access and stuff across the whole process, it can be useful. It can transform data, it can streamline data into insights, preparing data, converts text into images, vice versa, and a lot of things. Okay, automates and enhances data. So this is really very cool. In fact, now you even have in more, let's say, recent versions of in platforms where you have SQL being used, there are variations which help you also inbuilt functions for processing data. There are inbuilt functions where you can call a large language model or use a chat GPT model, GPT-4 or whatever, while writing SQL queries. So that's where we are getting. Okay, this is really powerful stuff. And in future, in a few months from now, maybe by next year, everyone will be able to perhaps write SQL queries where you also have a function where you're using a chat GPT or something, okay, or GPT-4 or something. All right. So that's about this section. Any questions on this? Any questions on this section around SQL? Any comments, any remarks? There's one question about affecting job market. I will come to it later. It's a larger discussion, but yes. Anyone else has any questions? What is more than 200? Like, there's no questions? Okay. All right. Then let me continue. Let me be aware of time, how much time we have. Okay, so we started at 3:30. We are 1 hour done. We have 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Yes, Tanuj. You
How
have a
many job
question?
opportunities are there in Hyderabad for Gen AI?
Sorry, what?
How many job opportunities do we have in Hyderabad?
I don't think I'm the right person to ask this question, and at this point in time, maybe you can put it in later towards the end, and maybe someone from Full Stack can answer this. Okay, I'm talking about SQL right now. If you have any questions on
क्या
using
बोल के
Gen AI,
पूछा उन्हें यारो हैं?
okay.
Off है.
All right, we have to mute these. All right. Okay, then let me go ahead then. Okay, now here we come to the last part, or last major part, which is coding assistance. And there's two things we will see here. One is coding assistance, which is everyone can do this right now. Okay, some of you already might be aware of Google Colab. If you're not aware of Google Colab, and if you want to get into a data science, data analytics role, definitely you should spend time on it. Okay, what is Google Colab? Google Colab is, I would say, let's say a platform or a place where you can run code, write code, run code, using files from your Google Drive or upload files and so on. And it is super, super good. Okay. And Google Colab, so it's free for everyone. Okay. It's free for everyone. And you don't need to pay unless you want to use some really high power resources. It's free for everyone. Okay. So now Google Colab is, I would just maybe a couple of minutes and everyone just go to collab.research.google.com. Okay. Collab.research, or you can search for Google Colab and click on it. Okay. And when you do this, you'll see I'm reaching this now, collab.research.google.com. And this is really very useful stuff for everyone. Just really a free platform to run codes and whatnot. Okay. Can we use Jupyter? You don't need to. Okay, I'll show you. And you go here, you will have these things. You can say new notebook. Okay. So go to collab.research.google.com and say new notebook. Or if you are in Google Drive, you can right click and say, okay, new notebook or whatever. Okay. But yeah, if you say new notebook, you get this kind of interface. Okay. And again, this will be later detailed out how to use this. But essentially, this is a place where you can write code. Okay? And you see now, it says start coding or generate with AI. And why is this cool? First of all, what it is doing, okay? You see here on the right above, there is Gemini here, okay? And Google is using Google Gemini models, latest models, Flash model or whatever, for this in this environment. And what you can do now is generate code for whatever you want. Okay, so I don't know, print hello while using row 13, I don't know, but it's something example, right? Code to read a compressed CSV file compressed in a zip, yeah, zip file, and print the first 5 records. Okay, now you can if you are a complete beginner, right, you might not be able to figure this out very quickly, or you might have to go do a Google search or whatever. But here now you just write what you want. It's like how you do in ChatGPT, right? Code to read a CSV file compressed in a zip file and print the first 5 records. And it will take a couple of moments, and you see now it uses some utilities, right? And it gives you all of this code. Okay, it doesn't necessarily need to be the most easy code to read. Maybe there is better ways, but the point is, this came to you. I mean, this was so simple, right? It also does error handling. Okay, if file is not found, then print this. If it is a bad file, then print this, and so on, and print this. Okay, but all of this code, which again, if you are a beginner, this is quite some work, right? All of this code is now just available to you. Okay, or you can say, okay, use code, and you can say print first 5 compressed in a zip file using pandas, yeah, read CSV, something. You can specify, you can change this or whatever, and then it will give you a new code. So, and this is a very different kind of a code, right? So you see, you don't need to code from scratch anymore, actually. All right. Okay, so you can again say generate. You can start the code yourself. You can say generate. You can say, okay, code to go through all the numeric fields and plot histograms, maybe, right? And when you do this, you see it will this. Okay, it will add. It is added to the previous one, but still, okay. So it goes through columns. It also has comments to tell you what it is doing. So iterate through the numeric columns and plot histograms. Okay, and this is really very useful. Okay, now I've been using this for more than for a year. I think it's been here for a year, and I can tell you, I've gotten so used to this or auto completion and stuff. Maybe I'm also forgetting how to write Python code, but still, now my thinking is more on the logical part. So this is super helpful, folks, and I strongly recommend using. Even if you don't have anything else, right? Any other paid tools, just using Google Colab, you can already you don't need to know a lot of code details. You see this how cool this is. Okay, so this is one. Okay, this is Google Colab. There's a question. There's a hand raised by Fahim again. If you have a question, please go ahead, Fahim.
Rahim,
If
how
not,
did you generate the code in Google Colab? Like AI, what did you press to create the AI generate the code with
this,
AI?
right? I automatically see start coding or generate with AI. Do you see this or not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So when you click on it, right, you get this small box, text box, where you can enter the command. Okay.
Okay.
And here you can just enter, and once you hit enter, you get this code like you had here. Okay, it's like having a mini chat GPT available to you at all times in the code window. Right?
We can feed the database also to this?
No, this is, I mean, in Google Colab, you can actually have data files as well. So you don't have to feed it through this, but there will be data files and stuff in Google Colab. So it has its own way of working with data and stuff, right? So it has data available. You can get data from your own Google Drive also. So there's many options to get data. You can easily do it. Okay. All right. There's another question. Shaheen.
Rahim,
Yeah.
Rahim, sometime
Shaheen was first. Sorry, Ibrahim. Shaheen, please go ahead.
Thank you, got it.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, I want to know how to like import the libraries in Google Colab.
In Google Colab, we can. I
So,
think it's a
is
separate
it
discussion.
possible to import the library?
No, you can install libraries using regular commands, pip commands and stuff in Google Colab. So it should not be a problem. Okay. So in fact, you can ask, right?
So, will it work
Install.
out here? And
which library you want. Install Stanford NLP library, something like that. Okay, if you can also ask, okay, what, so it will tell you, okay, just do this pip install and it will install library. Okay, so you can do a lot of stuff. You can explore this later. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Right, I think there was another question, I imagine. Okay, but now if there's no question, let me come to the final big demo part. Okay, and this is I'll show this to you. You don't have to do it yourself. The reason is because this needs a paid version of ChatGPT. You might be able to do a little bit in Claude. Maybe you can try Claude, but I think ChatGPT with the free version, you will hit the limits and you will not be able to work beyond this. Okay, so I will just show you very briefly, and then I will maybe, once the recording is there, you can try it on your own and stuff. Okay, so let me do this thing. So in ChatGPT, I have a paid version, so I have more things, and you see ChatGPT has this thing called projects. You don't have to have projects. You can go in a single chat also, but I have this thing called a project. Okay, and in this project, let me start a new project to just show you what it is. Okay, so let's say marketing case, something like that. Okay, it's a new project called marketing case. Something went wrong. Okay, what went wrong? Maybe something issue with ChatGPT at this point. But yeah, let's see. Verify I'm human. All right, let me start a new project now, and I'll be brief about this. We don't need to spend too much time on this, just to show you the power of it, right? Okay, now I'll start a new project called marketing case. And when you have this kind of a thing, let me just show you. Okay, this is the, okay, now I can add in files here. Okay, so I can just take these. I'm adding this stuff, and this stuff just becomes accessible to me throughout this whole conversation. Okay, and it's there. This is added as files now, and I can now, during the chat, I can talk about these files. Okay, ChatGPT knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so I have these two files, and I can give some instructions to ChatGPT, like a general thing. You are very whatever. You are a data analyst who writes and runs Python code. Be concise in your responses, something like that. Okay, doesn't matter so much. And during the course, we'll see how to do it better. This is just to get started. Okay, responses, but you can do a lot with this. Okay, so you have this project, and now really you'll see this is really very powerful. It's like having an analytics intern with you at your disposal all times. Okay, now I start a new chat. Okay, so I give it some sort of a context. Okay, I am analyzing data about a marketing campaign run by a bank. Bank to get customers to open a term deposit. Okay, this is just some sort of a deposit, right? You open with the bank, so they're calling the customers. It's a phone thing. They're calling the customers and asking them to open a term deposit. Okay, there are two files. Okay, one has, it will figure out everything. One has demographics about the demographics is like, age and stuff like that about the customer. Other has details about the customer's banking activity, maybe something like that. Okay, a financial status or whatever. Okay, I will provide instructions and you will execute. I will write and execute, and you perform the task in Python. Yeah, in Python. Okay, and this, you'll see how cool this is now. And now I have this kind of a thing available. Okay, please provide specific instructions or analysis you'd like me to perform. Okay, let's start. Now, print 5 sample records from each data set and a brief description of each field. Notice that there is no description really provided in the file. We'll see that the file just has some sort of a header, but the model is so smart. 5 from each, okay? So what the data has is just this: customer ID, age, job, marital, education. But ChatGPT is able to also figure out, okay, CID means unique identifier, age is customer's age, job is type of job he has, right? Marital is marital status of the customer. So it is giving you these descriptions of each, right, based on what it kind of guessed. Okay, this is very important. It guesses, but still in this case it is right. Housing is whether the customer has a housing loan. Loan whether the customer has a personal loan, right? So even though you did not know this data set very well, it is giving you fair amount of information about this. The outcome of the previous marketing campaign for this customer. Deposit, whether the customer opened a term deposit, yes or no. Okay, so this is what it has done. Now what I'm going to do is this: these are two separate files. I want to combine them. Now what you would do in code, perhaps you want to merge them using Python or using SQL or whatever, but I could very simply tell it, okay, merge the two files using customer ID, make it and here I'm being specific, okay, inner join. And it will do this by itself. And by the way, one more small thing, you can see the analysis also, what it does. And by clicking on this, you see what code it does, okay? But that's for later. So it merges the files and it gives you this new data set, which has everything, okay? Which is everything in this. So okay, fine. So you took the files, you asked the assistant to merge them. Awesome. Now I want to analyze certain things. I think there is a thing called age of the customer. There is balance. Okay, let me see. Now I say, okay, what? Plot histogram. Or let's say plot a box plot of the age feature, age column. Okay. And you have a box plot. Okay. Also, it tells you what it is. It provides summary of distribution, and it gives you this kind of a box plot. And you can expand this also. So now you go into a mode where this is maximized. You can still keep writing commands over here. It will give you, okay, oh, this box plot looks fine. Okay, now what do you want? I want to, okay, what is the distribution of the, say, education column? Okay, so what I'm really doing right now is performing univariate analysis. Okay. Okay, normalize this, normalize the 2 percentages. I can say, okay, these don't give me just these numbers, normalize the percentages and visualize as a pie chart, maybe, I don't know. Maybe the pie doesn't work always, but yeah, you can do it if you want to. And now what's happening is, okay, it's creating this thing, distribution, it calculates, and now it creates a pie chart. Okay, this is really cool, right? I mean, we're able to get all of this insights. Okay, now let me understand the target thing. What is the target? How many customers responded positively? How many opened a term deposit? Okay, overall, what proportion of customers opened a term deposit, which is the main thing, right? Overall. And it gives you this kind of answer. And okay, and if you want, by the way, if anyone is interested, you can look into the code also. Okay, what kind of code it has, so you can check it out also. Okay, anyway, you can also modify things now. You don't have to stick to it. For example, okay, I'll show you later maybe, but yeah, And now you're like, okay, fine, you know what, this is okay. I'm seeing the overall, it's a 47% people open this, but is it different for different groups? So for example, or let's say, do people having a loan, let's have some sort of hypothesis, okay? I have a hypothesis that people who have a loan, a home loan, are less likely to open a new deposit because perhaps their income is already being used, okay? So calculate the proportion, okay, for customers with and without a home loan, okay? Customers without a home loan 57, okay. All right. All right, so now what I want, okay, so this is what it does, okay? Now plot this in a bar chart, plot only the percent of customers who, yeah, open the term deposit. And now you see that you're also doing exploration at the same time. You're also doing visualization to explore. You can also make modifications to things and whatnot, okay? And it can now make you a bar chart also. Okay, right. So people who do not have it, and you can say, you know, add labels or whatever, this is all fine. You can do all of that. So people who do not have a home loan, housing loan, they have a much higher chance of like doing a thing. Okay, so this is how useful it is. Okay, and I'll just give you a bit more complex example just to close, and then maybe we'll kind of let me just see. How much time do we have? It's, yeah, we have like 30 minutes. Okay, all right, let me know. Yeah, so it does all of this. So I'll give you a small example just to show you how good it can be if you know what you're doing. Okay, create quintiles, so five buckets, right? 5 buckets. First, like highest 20%, 20% customers as bucket 5, lowest as bucket 1. Okay, create quintiles of age. Okay, create quintiles of balance. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm creating buckets of categorizing customers into different values, different ranges of age, different ranges of balance. Okay, okay, 5 highest, 1 lowest. Okay, and create a heat map, okay, with age quintiles in rows, balance quintiles in columns, average response rate in cells. Yeah, plot this heat map. Lowest value is red, highest is green, and overall average is white. And let's see if it does this. Okay, just maybe wait a few seconds, and in fact you can also see what kind of code it is doing, but you will see that it made a heat map. And I don't know what you think, but this is super cool, folks. Right? It can even analyze, okay, what is the insight from this heat map. Okay, it will even analyze this heat map and tell you that customers in higher balance quintiles exhibit higher response rates, right? Which suggests that wealthier, older customers are more open, right? And for your strategy, it says for targeting campaigns, focus on older, wealthier customers, okay? As this is most responsive, consider different incentives or communication for this. How cool is that, right? It is doing all of this. and this is not over yet, by the way. I mean, we could go on and on. In fact, I can in 1 minute I can create a machine learning model here and get the accuracy. We don't need to do that. We can do it during the course, but you see how powerful it is, right? And create what do you say? Traceability. I want a documentation, okay? Document for this analysis, okay? Analysis so that someone else can replicate, okay? Add to it, 1, the data sources, 2, the processing done, 3, the Python code at the end. And when I do this, right, when I do this, now what I'm really doing is not only am I able to perform this analysis, okay, but I'm also able to kind of keep a whole track of what are the steps I did, okay, and I'm also able to extract this key information. I can extract it as whatever. It can be a PDF, it can be something, it can be a zip file or whatever. But you'll see that I can just hand it over to anyone and they can continue the analysis. They can check my analysis and so on. So if you're, let's say, a senior person, right, and who somehow did this whole ChatGPT thing by yourself, and you just want some analyst to review, you can just share this with them. Or if you did this and you want a team member to check it, or if you want it for yourself for later, you can do all of this, okay? So it will take some time perhaps to create this, but it does it, okay? I can open this. All right. Okay, let me see. Is it not showing up? Okay. Oh, it's not opening up like this so easily. Okay, let me minimize this. And now, yeah, there is a traceability analysis here. Here is the thing, okay? So this is traceability document. Data sources are listed. Activity data set, data processing steps are listed. Load the data, inspect the data, and so on. Exploratory and stuff, advanced analysis, visualization. It also gives you the full Python code, which you can copy for yourself, okay? And so on. So this is how amazing it is. And this is really as good as having a junior analyst with you. It is super powerful for anyone, right? If you're a junior analyst, you can do all of this. And you see, right, we did not write a single line of code ourselves. All of it was done by Python, by ChatGPT, and in the end, we could still verify if this is correct or not. Okay, so imagine how much you could already do without knowing a lot of Python. And this is really cool stuff. Okay, so so you can see that not only could you analyze, but you could also ask it for insights. You could also save the thing documentation from the ChatGPT window itself, and it's super easy to get this. Okay, you how powerful this whole thing is for analytics. This is just a few examples what we could do in a limited time. Yeah, but there is a lot more that you can learn in the course. Yeah, this course which is upcoming, it is not so far away. So this course called Gen AI for Analytics by Full Stack Academy. I will be your instructor, and you can see this barcode here. You can check out the website and go ahead and register. But really the key features of this course will be that there's industry application focus. We will do a lot of case studies and multiple projects, okay? We will use the latest Gen AI tools for doing the hands-on part. We will have a comprehensive analysis approach, like start from Gen AI basics, build up and do detailed analytics projects, okay, data science projects as well. Live training with myself, and this is for all experience levels really. It's not like only for people with a certain experience level. Freshers are also welcome. More experienced people are also welcome, okay? And if I show you this page, let me just show you. You can check the barcode, by the way, the QR code, and you can go ahead seeing the page yourself. But I can show you some things about this course. Verify that you're not a robot. Oh man. Okay. I think this maybe the IP thing, right, from Germany could be the problem. Okay, next. Oh, I missed the imagine this, you're doing this demo thing and then this captcha thing comes up, and if I fail the captcha, okay. All right, so this is the page, and you can find all details about the course over here. 30 days course. I think it'll be like 10 is a mistake, but it'll be like a lot of hours of interactive sessions. And this is for anyone. This is not only for freshers, really. You could also be anyone who wants industry experience. There are people who are in the industry but want to change into analytics. There are leaders who want to get more hands-on, and so on. So this is really for everyone, okay? And anyone who has to work with data. And this is this is a trainer, awesome guy. I know him personally. And you will use these technologies. You will use all of these things: Claude, Perplexity, SQL, Colab. You use Flowise, and you will use Python as well in this course for doing different things. So yeah, please go ahead, check it out. More details about each module is also present here. We start with basics of Gen AI technology. We talk about Gen AI workflows and stuff. Then we go into some key parts of analytics. Okay, we will do the common skills first, for data exploration, manipulation, and whatnot. Then we will go one by one. So first we will talk about then data analytics stuff. Then we'll talk about product analytics stuff also, and then we'll also talk about business analytics stuff. So we'll cover the full thing. So it doesn't matter whether you are into business analytics or product analytics. There's something for everyone. And of course, there is a whole common skills layer, right? Like SQL and Python and whatnot, which is there for everyone. So all of these details are available on the page. Just scan the QR code. You can download the curriculum also, right? And the batch is starting soon. It is on 7th Jan, so it's not far away. Okay, so if you feel Gen AI is really useful, really powerful, if you liked what you saw today, we have like much more in the course, and in the more and with a longer duration, you will be surprised how much you could do without even having a lot of essential knowledge. Okay, so this is really useful. Is this helpful for industry? I think this is a question about industries. So any industry which is using data, I don't see. I think it's should ask the other question, which industry it is not useful for. Yeah, okay. So yeah, the point is, anywhere there's data, this can be used. I don't see any exceptions really. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's about the course, folks. Scan the QR code, go there, maybe the phone numbers also here, check the website out. And of course, the instructor also is available to you, right? On LinkedIn, you can scan the QR code, find me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions about Gen AI, or if you have any questions about this course, feel free to reach out to me as well, right? I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. So yeah, please check out, okay? There's a question in chat. Being a business student, can I opt for master's? It's a different kind of a question. Maybe you can reach out to me individually, and I can try to help you out separately, yeah? Okay, there's, Q&A. There is a question by Irfan.
Hi, Meza. My question is actually, just now we have presented the Google Colab. You mean like you generated the code even for Python, or I think even it will work for Java and other programming languages. So my question is, after after getting the code from Google Colab, we have to check this with the compiler, any compiler, or what? How this could how this going to be work out?
Yeah. Actually, no. For Python, right? Google Colab is where you can run and compile the code also. Okay. So, so Google Colab is the full thing. It's not only for writing code. You can also execute this whole thing. Okay. So all of this you can do here. So as you can.
No, I got it. I got your point. But what my question is, what is the difference? I'm utilizing this Google Colab versus the Python IDE.
Oh, it's just a different platform, right? So Google Colab is running on Google servers, is their interface, right?
It's a different platform. It's a different platform. Like how it is going to be potentially enhance my skills, enhance the skills. Like practicing in Python IDE will have a different things, or knowing the key terms points which you have shown us now. By using this, we have to paste it in Python, then we have to get it reset or something like that. How?
No. Okay, just to clarify this whole thing, right? See, you don't have to paste whatever code you have in Google Colab. You can run it in Google Colab if you want. But if you have a different place where you like to run code, you can copy this and write over there also. There is nothing stopping you, right? So for example, I did this thing right now, right? I'm running the code over here, right? So this is perfectly, Google Colab has all of these things. So, and I think it's, I wouldn't think so much about the IDE really if I'm a beginner especially. I will not worry about the IDE so much. I will just pick something which is maybe user friendly, and that's it. You can start. Google Colab is fine. The reason I said because it doesn't require installation on your machine, doesn't depend on the machine's processor and so on, right? You can access it from the phone also. So you can write code using the phone also. This is what I used to do several years ago when I was learning. I was so into it, I used to go on the phone, I used to run code using my phone. So Google Colab allows that, right? So that's why it is very convenient. But again, don't worry about the IDE too much. Whatever you're comfortable with, just use that.
And sorry, and also it is same for the graphical tools also, like R or some other Tableau. Same thing, right?
I mean, these are different things, right? Tableau is something else altogether.
I mean, just now you have shown that histogram plots and other graphical representations in the collab. So
those things you can make in collab also. Yeah.
And same in R or something like that. You mean to say? If
think,
I'm enrolled the course from, if I'm enrolling the course, okay, so I might be getting I might be enhancing the skills through only the AI, Google Colabs, and other stuff. Is that right?
No. And first of all, see, Google Colab is just one of the places you can run this code, right? That is just one interface. So what we just did on ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
We ran code on ChatGPT, right? So it's just an interface.
Yes.
The key thing really is the analysis part, right? So don't worry about this. We can, in fact, during the course, you can use any IDE you want. If you're comfortable with one particular thing, use that. If you like Google Colab, use that. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the IDE. It's a small thing. What you learn can be applied anywhere, whether it is on chat here or on Google Colab or PyCharm or Idle or whatever. It's you can run it anywhere.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay. Yes. Is there another question? Folks, so there is, while other questions come up, there's a small thing, which important thing for us is in the chat, there is a feedback form. So please take a moment to fill out this feedback form so that we know, right, whether you liked it and whether or what you folks are expecting in terms of, let's say, content in the course or content for the future, let's say, webinars, right? So that's it will be very helpful for us if you fill this, right? So please go ahead and fill the form which is there in chat, and I hope this helps you understand, how much you can do. Some of it might have been a bit more complex for people who are very beginners, but like I said, don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about that. As you saw, when during this whole ChatGPT thing, we did not write a single line of code, right? So it was more about logical skills. So don't worry about it at all. We will learn all of this. We will learn how to analyze also. We will learn everything during the course. So it should be very easy, as you saw, right? So I'll stay for a few moments if there are any questions. A question is, can this analytics result be deployed on any server and linked to database tables instead of files and then shared be as URL with others? So there's a question about, let's say the file the code and all which I created from the analysis, can this be shared with others and can they run it on their place? So yeah, they will have to change, right? The answer is they have to change the references, right? So for example, this whole thing, so they will have to change references to the paths and stuff like that. The main thing is, it has some of them notes already, right? Replace the path like this, ensure the required libraries are here, adapt file paths and columns if schema changes. If let's say instead of a file, there's a database, but the code, right? All you need to do is read from the database into a data frame in Python, and it will still work as fine. Okay, it'll be minor change, it might work, but someone has to make that change, right? Or you write the code in such a way that it runs everywhere. Okay, all right. So any other question, folks? Yeah, I hope this was useful to you all. I think the main goal is just to show you, just to demonstrate, that without code, how much you can really achieve with the modern tools. And really, coding is not the blocker anymore. Right. I think looks like there is no other questions. I think we finished on time as well, so that's also good. There's a question about, this is an important question. Normally the company data is confidential and we may not upload it to ChatGPT. Yes, this is a very important point. Is there AI support in Tableau or Power BI? Okay. In general, in Tableau and Power BI, by the way, both have very good AI features now. In fact, I don't know if you folks are already aware, Microsoft Excel, okay, Microsoft Excel now has Python. So you can run Python code, you can run Python models inside of Microsoft Excel. Okay, so all of these tools really have become very evolved, number one. Okay, secondly, confidentiality is a very important topic. Please don't upload your company things into ChatGPT from your personal account. However, if your company gives you internal access to ChatGPT, because many companies do that, okay? Many companies have Copilot, right? Many companies have internal systems access. There you can freely perhaps upload the things, but yes, please don't do this with the personal account and don't put company information. It's a problem thing, okay? Sana asked a question about job market. Yes, and this is again important thing. It's like this, okay? It's a very simple way to think about this. You saw right now that if I am a senior person, okay, to get certain answers earlier, I would reach out to an analyst, and the analyst might not spend time on it. Maybe they take a week and stuff like that, and maybe I'm not able to explain what is properly what I want. There's back and forth. Maybe it takes 2 weeks to get the thing, but now I get this thing within like 15 minutes, right? And you see, right, naturally, it has an impact, right? So what will really happen is, if the analysts are smart and the analysts are adding value in terms of business decision making and helping the stakeholders, then they are still very valuable. But if the analyst was simply writing code and not quite understanding what is going on, then ChatGPT is already doing that for you. Okay, so in this case, what will really happen is jobs will definitely be impacted. I don't think there is any doubt about this. Coding jobs, analytics jobs, data science job, all of them will be like very severely impacted. Okay, so the question is, okay, then what do you do? The key thing is you become the person who uses these tools and does better. If there are two people in my team, right? If I have to hire two people, for example, right? Or if I have to fire someone, doesn't matter. But yeah, one person is using AI tools and already working like three people. I will obviously prefer them. It's a no-brainer for me, right? And the other person is not using AI tools, super slow, back and forth, and of course they are at a disadvantage. So in my mind, okay, and this is already happening, even for non-tech roles right now, people are asking, do you know how to use generative AI? This will happen. This is happening for analytics role as well. People are expected to know things. So if you are in analytics roles are important. They will not go away, right? But what will change is that you will not have 5 analysts which are very generic. You might have 3 analysts who are more evolved and they are using these tools better. Okay, so your best bet in this current climate, right, is, and this is happening across the world, so it's not about analyst versus software versus something. Okay, your best bet in this current climate is data roles good, but data roles with along with Gen AI comfort or AI comfort. That is really what you really need, okay? Otherwise, it's a deep trouble for everyone. It's not just data analyst. As a data analyst, what kind of AI tools should we learn is the question, okay? I think there's not a long list of tools really. You saw that it depends on the company to company, but to some extent, right? If you have some basics sorted, like if you're able to use SQL and stuff very nicely, if you're able to write Python code like we did in Colab or whatever, and if you're able to visualize in some tool, I think it's the standard kind of a thing. Maybe Power BI, Tableau, or whatever, one of the tools, I think you're good. This is the kind of staple, okay? That's all you need. But then of course, within each company, some company uses this, some company uses that. It changes, but these three are important. How can we, what kind of projects in GenAI should be freshers resume? It's hard to say, Raza. Depends a lot of things. Okay, how much Python is required for data analyst? Abdul Mukim, you saw for data analyst specifically, I think for the low value tasks or simpler tasks, right? You don't need a lot of Python anymore, as you saw. But once you get into a bit more advanced things, like a senior data analyst, right? There you will need more Python. Not just Python, you will need in fact, you'll need SQL more than Python, I believe. SQL, some data engineering concepts and stuff like that. But yeah, you saw as in the current state, some essential fundamentals. You don't need a lot of Python really. It's more about some fundamentals or being able to see the code and being able to check it is fine or not, right? That is really what is happening right now. Okay. What kind of projects like RAG and LLM? No, I don't think it's RAG LLM is so important for freshers resume really. I think rather, if you want to get into analytics kind of role, you should show that you're able to draw insights, that you're able to analyze things better. I think that is more powerful than RAG, LLM, because I think these days you go to GitHub, clone someone's GitHub code, copy that code and run it on yourself, right? Everyone is doing that. So it doesn't differentiate really. It doesn't make you special in any way, okay? Okay, I think that's it. I believe we can learn these tools. What is needed, what we need is ability to understand the requirements and the ability to think critically and okay, so Rafat has a very good comment in chat, which I 100% believe, so everyone can read it also. What Rafat says is that tools, right? The tools we can learn slowly, right? It's fine how to use the tools, it's fine, tools fine. But what you do, right? Understand the requirements, to think critically, problem solving things, right? Giving good instructions to the chatbot, which is prompt engineering basically, right? All of these things now are becoming more and more important. So the more analytical things are becoming more and more important. The code part is getting less important. That's what is happening. And that's where you need to focus, you need to develop, okay? But at the same time, you need to be effective and very efficient, and you need to know how to use these tools. And really, imagine the analysis we did, right? It would take someone else, or the SQL queries or whatever, it would take someone else maybe 1 day if they're not using AI, and you could do it in 15 minutes. That's the big difference. And this is really powerful, okay? Okay, starting as a data analyst, and can we jump into data scientist role after getting 1 or 2 years of experience? Yes, you can. In fact, in my mind, there is, not like a level or something, but it is a very common path. If someone wants to be a specific role, let's say a data scientist role, and right now it's hard because they might ask for certain things, like they want a PhD, they want this, they want that, they want production codes and GitHub profile. You won't have that as a fresher, right? So it makes much more sense to go into a data role, maybe a business analyst or a product analyst or a data analyst, right? Go into the role from within the company, right? Get exposure to the team, what they do, maybe ask to volunteer on a project which they are working with, right? Spend some capacity over there, understand how they work. Then for you, it becomes much more easy to make a move within that company, all right? So, okay, folks. So yeah, it's going into a kind of a different direction now, but okay, I hope the demo and the workshop was useful to you. I hope you're able to see the utility of ChatGPT and stuff. And I hope, really, more importantly, in your mind, right, it is clear that the fear of that whole coding thing is going away, I hope, because now you see that a lot can be done without code, right? That was the key aim. And yes, I strongly recommend, right, this course right now. Really, I would say, because it is the first batch and stuff, it is discounted. I strongly recommend taking a course like this, not because I'm one of the trainers, but still, I strongly recommend taking a course like this in a structured manner, which gives you a full picture and gives you assignments and projects. This kind of hands-on is really valuable, and it really helps you prepare for what's coming out there. This is really somewhat, this is the course you should take at this point. Okay then. Thank you everyone for more. I think there's a lot more questions. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Happy to help you all. And let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Right. Thanks everyone, and have a good evening. And maybe I see you in the course. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for your session.
Thank you everyone.